expository essay, compare and contrast. An expository essay is an essay in which the writer shares information with the reader. The writer supports the main points with factual information. The writer's personal experience or point of view is not usually included in an expository essay, except perhaps as a hook to get the reader interested in the essay. Different types of expository essay. There are several types of expository essay, including cause and effects, compare and contrast, classification, and problem and solution. Sometimes, the writer of an expository essay will use more than one pattern of organization in the essay, such as cause and effect and compare and contrast. The choice of the writer is addressing a similar or a difference is an important feature of compare and contrast essay. It is also important that the supporting evidence be well researched, relevant, and clear presented. When writing a compare and contrast essay, the writer cannot simply state that two things are similar or different. He or she must support those statements with details, facts, observation, and examples.
My name is Trisakti Amerianti Zega. Basic structure of compare and contrast essays. 1. Introduction. Announcement of the topic, a thesis statement that clearly states what the writer will compare and or contrast. 2. Body. The precise organization of a compare and contrast essay depends on the writer's purpose. For examples, similarities and or differences, transitional sentence between paragraphs. Supporting evidence, details facts, observation, and examples signal words to indicate similarities or differences. 3. Conclusion. Restatement of central idea, satisfactory ending.
Okay, my friends, my name is Rini Suzuna Telambanua, and I will read for us about the example compare and contrast. This is about social studies. The first is introduction. Many people think that the rules for polite behavior are the same everywhere. They may not realize that how you define politeness depends upon the culture that you grow up in. The second is body paragraphs. For example, countries have different customs for offering and receiving food and drinks. In Latin America, offering food or drink to all visitors is very important. If a visitor doesn't accept the food, it is considered rude unless there is a healed reason. In the United States, on the other hand, it is appropriate for a guest to say no if he or she doesn't want anything. Many hosts accept this refusal and are not offended by it. Politeness is also expressed by the way people speak to each other. Some cultures are more open and friendly, others are more reserved. For example, in the United States, it is common for strangers to strike up a conversation. They may start talking on the bus, at a subway station, or in a supermarket. On the other hand, in the United Kingdom, it is less common for strangers to talk. Many British people are more reserved than Americans, so talking to strangers is not different. Customs can also be seen at restaurants. In the United States, for example, people say "excuse me" to call to waiter or waitress. They do not snap their fingers because they think it is rude. In some cultures, in contrast, people gesture with their hands or snap their fingers. Unlike in the United States, it is appropriate in those countries, and the server will not be offended. The third is conclusion. Politeness is based on a desire to treat other people well, but countries show politeness in different ways. Each culture has its own customs and expectations. If we understand this, we are less likely to be offended by customs that are different from our own. Thank you.
Expressing similarities and differences. The following words are used to introduce similarities and differences. This word help give your essay a clear structure and are often used as a transition change from one idea to another. Differences: less, more than, some. Other, different, on the other hand. But unlike, but instead, but rather, but actually, in contrast to. Similarities: also the same, equally, just as, like, in addition. 1. At the beginning of a paragraph. Use this word at the beginning of a paragraph to transition from the topic of the previous paragraph to a similar or the contrasting topic of the new paragraph. Topic of previous paragraph: 1. Way of expressing politeness. Politeness is also expressed by the way people speak to each other. 2. In the middle of a paragraph. Use this word in the middle of a paragraph to show a similarity or contrast with the point made in the preceding sentence. Point of preceding sentence: in the United States, it is common for strangers to strike up a conversation. On the other hand, in the United Kingdom, it is less common for strangers to tell.